that fixture pricing thing. I wanted to put this on the top of my list because I've been doing it a lot lately for the past 3 years and very much so the past 3 months. We're doing complete pricing revamps inside of clients. In order to change pricing, we are having to understand what the costs are. And I apply a system called cost-based pricing. In other words, we figure out what the cost is and we add a margin to it. Does anybody sell products? Do resale? Okay. Resale is very, very simple. You find out what the cost from the manufacturer is and you apply a margin or a markup to it. If you're smart, you apply a margin to it, which is different than markup. But at the end of the day, you're going to charge more than you pay for it, and there's supposedly some gross profit in there. It's a very simple business. How does that work in rental? What's your cost basis for a product that you already own? In most of your job cost systems, that cost basis is 0, and you assume that everything you own is free. And if you follow that, you start to believe that your staff is free. Oh, well, he's on salary. He's free. Well, we were going to pay him anyway. He's free. Well, the truck was just sitting in the parking lot. It's free. And then pretty soon it becomes, well, that equipment's just sitting on the shelf. It's free. And pretty soon you've got a show that's all value added and a bunch of free. And now we're paying our customers so that we can do their shows. So avoid the 3x3 pricing matrix. I'm not picking on Intellivent, but all rental management software works the same way. If I've got a product and it's $1,000 a week or $1,000 a day, okay, let's make it $100 a day. Let's play with small chips. It's $100 a day. If the client wants it for a week, I probably charge them more. In the AV rental world, it used to be 4 days, now it's 3 days, maybe it's 2 days, now it's whatever the heck we can get. So I can change the price from $100 to $90 because the client calls and says, hey, you know what, I can get that from so-and-so for $90. Okay, I'll match their price. Okay. Oh, well, I'm getting a 2-day week. Okay, I'll match the price. And I'm still getting my 40% discount, right? I have 3 variables that I can change in my quote. If my salesmen have access to all 3, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to change all 3. Okay. Does it look like we lost money? No, we've got revenue. That's positive cash flow. And my job cost says it was all on the shelf, so it didn't cost me anymore. We are absolutely kidding ourselves about our cost basis, which means our retail pricing, which we don't honor anyway, is probably wrong. I've got to be able to take that 3x3 pricing and turn it into 1x pricing. So your prices have to be based on something other than emotion. Okay. Prices have to be based on something other than emotion. If you're responding to a gut feeling about something, then you're putting emotion into the pricing process. Okay? And you're probably driving your prices down because the biggest emotion we all have is fear. I'm afraid I won't win the job. Well, great, let's just knock another 5 points off of it. And we keep dropping the price until we win the job, which proves us that we were right to be afraid because I had to drop the price 3 times before the client confirmed. And in fact, what you did was you dropped the price while the client was in the consideration period instead of figuring out when their decision moment was and dropping the price 1 time at the decision moment, you dropped it 3 times because you didn't ask the client when their decision moment is. Okay, fixture pricing. In the rental business, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when I started in the rental business, pricing was very simple. Okay? We didn't have a lot of competition. If you owned the product in your market, you were probably the only one who did, and you could set the price. And the price was great. We'd take the purchase price, we'd divide it by 10 or 20 or whatever our number was, and that became the rental rate. Very simple business. All of our pricing was based on what it cost us to acquire and own the inventory. Today, and I had this question yesterday from one of my clients, how does what we paid for something affect the retail price? Because we're redoing their retail pricing. I said it doesn't affect it at all. It doesn't matter what you paid for it. If you got a great deal on something, would you drop your retail price? Or would you take the market price and enjoy the extra profit? Business people, we want the extra profit. So our retail pricing, what we sell things at, has to be based on something, and what it's based on today, unlike 20 years ago, is the wholesale market. And no matter what you do now, there's a wholesale market for it. There is somebody out there who on a wholesale basis will provide whatever it is that you think you're renting, and this includes labor, there's somebody else who will do it at a wholesale rate. with, oh, by the way, no value-added services. They know exactly what their profit margins are. If you fix your pricing, then you have the ability to do something that I think is extremely important, which is pre-job costing. Post-job costing is a lovely tool to go back and find out where all the money went. But why can't we pre-job cost? Okay, why can't we look ahead and see what we're actually going to do? And I'm not really talking about, if you haven't figured it out, the outside expenses that I'm going to have. I care about my inside expenses as well. I need a real job cost. There's two types of accounting. There's tax accounting, which are the people who keep us from going to jail. It's very important. And then there's managerial accounting, they don't even go to the same parties as tax accountants. Managerial accountants look at numbers completely differently. Pre-job costing is managerial accounting. We don't practice it. Most of us have never heard of it. That's not the class that we took in college because all the pretty girls were taking tax accounting. Okay? But we need to learn and understand that. When you try and job cost from your P&L statement, then you're going to fail to see a potential profit or loss in the future because it's always looking backwards. The P&L only tells us the part of the story, and that's the ending. And if your job cost system is based on how things line up on the P&L when you're done, all you're seeing is the ending of the story. Pre-job cost and true job cost tells us about the journey. We need to know what the journey ahead is and decide whether or not we want to go on that road. Not find out later whether it was a good idea or not, because then it's too late and you have limited resources. So pre-job costing, you have finite resources. You don't want to sub-rent if you can avoid it. You don't want to overtax your system if you can. You don't want to oversell too much. So why don't we pre-job cost and figure out which jobs are actually going to make us the most money and focus on not just those jobs, but the customers that appreciate our value proposition enough to let us make a profit. Okay. Which leads to number 7. How do you know when to walk away? And if your walk away trigger is a gut feeling, this doesn't feel good, well, that's good. That's better than nothing. But walking away is the first thing I'm looking for as a sales manager. When a salesman walks up to me with an opportunity, here's an RFP, here's what I think I can do the job for, I'm looking for the word no. The sooner I can find the word no that says, we're not doing this job, the more time I have to go out and find real business. Okay? And salesmen have a knack of, I pick on salesmen a lot, and golfers, salesmen have a knack of picking on jobs that they think, I know we can win this. I think if we drop the price, okay, we'll make it up on the next one. That's always good, yeah. Yeah, how often has that worked out? Okay. I'm looking for a reason to say, no, we're not coming down to that price. No, we're not pursuing this piece of business. You've got to base it on metrics. You need numbers. Pre-job costing will do that. Retail pricing will help keep you on track for all of that. So you need to know when and why. You need to know that you have a seasonal business. And your profit margin needs change throughout the year depending on how busy the year is, how busy you expect it to be, how many people flew on an airplane or stayed in a hotel. Okay. Was it the exact same price you paid last time? I didn't think so. How many clients do you have that are repeat business clients? I bet they paid the same price they did last time. What's up with that? Aren't you busy sometimes? Isn't what you do more valuable? Okay. Why don't you practice dynamic pricing? If you had dynamic pricing, you would know when to walk away. You'd know that at this time of year, in this particular month, I can't give any deals out. I can send that salesman back to either be a better salesperson or find a better client. You need to review every proposal. And if you're in the party rental business, and I used to be in a ownership group where I had 5 party rental companies as sister companies. So I've spent a lot of time in the party rental business against my will. Okay? It's a very small transaction business. When I found out that their average transaction was like $280, I about choked, because my average transaction was about $18,000. But you still need to review every proposal. And if you're doing 20,000 proposals a year at $200,000 to $800,000 a piece, okay, then you need to be set up to review those, because that's where you're losing money. That's where your profit is. And if you're trying to figure out when to walk away, and you're looking at the project and not the customer, then you're missing the point of everything I've just said today. All right? Salesmen will come to me and say, hey, they've never done business with us before. I'm just going to give them a 10% discount. And I'm looking at that and going, you know what? Of all the people that we would want for a customer, this company be in the top 5, maybe the top 3. If they were our best customer, what discount would we give them? Well, we'd give them 40%. Give them 40%. Well, it's only a $5,000 job. Give them 40%. Focus on the customer. Why would you treat somebody who's potentially your largest or second largest customer like they'd never done business with anyone before?